Hello, welcome to the Met Office 10-day trend, a 10-day trend that takes us through the first week of October. Now we're beyond the equinox now, but although the nights are officially longer than the days, there's still not a lot in it. The nights are long enough for things to turn chilly, and the days are still long enough for a bit of warmth around there. So temperatures will be important over the next 10 days. It's probably the biggest issue that's going to vary both day by day and in any one place on any given day. We'll see big variations, but also spatially across the UK, we'll see big variations from south to north. So temperatures will be varying quite a bit, but we're not going to see, it doesn't look like a huge amount of rainfall. The next 10 days promises a lot of dry weather. Now, this next chart really shows that quite nicely. This is the forecast for the total amount of rainfall over the next week or so, just under a week. 6 days worth of rainfall from 3 different computer models. And there's a very strong signal here. They all look pretty similar. That's parts of the south where it's green. I'm not expected to see any rain at all over the next 6 days. The wettest part of the UK will be northwest Scotland, but even here, a lot of this rain is expected over the next couple of days. So yes, a lot of dry weather around for the next week or so. And when we're talking about dry weather, we're pretty much always talking about high pressure. A very large area of high pressure actually controlling our weather, but sitting over much of mainland Europe. Now, over the next few days, what we'll see is a cold front pushing south, high pressure building in behind, and then again, a cold front pushing south and another area of high pressure building in behind that. So we're on a kind of a repeat cycle, the possibility of another front pushing in as we go into next week. So we've got high pressure nearby, but instead of a big fat blocking high that sits around, we call this more of a mobile high because it's kind of building in and then kind of getting squeezed out by a weather front. We're seeing that pattern at least 2 or 3 times over the next few days. Now, what does that pattern mean? Well, first and foremost, here comes the first of those weather fronts. It will bring a little bit of rain across Scotland on Thursday. But the most important thing, there's that big variation in temperatures I was talking about. As cold air comes in behind that front, we'll only see highs of 10 or 11 across the northwest, whereas in the sunshine across East Anglia in the southeast, temperatures in the low, possibly mid-20s on Thursday. But that cold front does then sink south, so the colder air pushes across all areas to start Friday before the high pressure moves back in and temperatures rise a little bit for the weekend. And then that second cold front comes south, and this one could introduce some slightly colder air. Notice the bluer hues there as we go into the weekend. So again, we're flip-flopping with temperatures varying quite a bit day on day. But with high pressure generally in control, there won't be a lot of rain around this weekend. That front could bring some across northwest Scotland. Many of us will see sunny spells this weekend, particularly so on Saturday. It will be cloudier on Sunday because of that cold front. And that's the biggest issue really for the weekend, the position of this cold front. It's still 4-5 days away, and it could be further north, it could be further south. So that's a bit of an area of uncertainty for the weekend. But although it is a cold front, it doesn't look like going to produce much rain. If you put the rain on there, it's fairly light and patchy. It will just be a cloudier zone somewhere across central areas. Further north, there's a fair few isobars on the chart for Sunday, so it could get quite blustery, and there will be some showers in the far northwest. But for many, say, the weekend looks dry. Now that cold front scoots out of the way, introducing colder air, it looks like, for the start of the new working week. So it will be chilly, it looks like, on Monday. But again, we're in that repeat pattern with high pressure trying to then build back in and potentially bringing in milder air again as these weather fronts approach as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday. Now we're looking a week ahead now, so there's always going to be uncertainty in the timings of these weather fronts as well. But you can see that pattern almost trying to repeat itself somewhat. As I said at the start, temperatures will be key. That's the thing that's going to vary the most over the next 10 days or so. And these graphs show that quite nicely. These are meteograms for, at the top, Reading, and at the bottom, Aberdeen. Now you can see the timeline going along the bottom there, so we're talking here Thursday, Friday next week, and the red blobs represent the maximum temperatures. So you can see that both for Aberdeen and Reading, we're likely to start off with temperatures above average. The average is this red line here. But then we see the temperatures drop in Reading as we go through Friday into the weekend. And although there's quite a big variation, there is a signal that towards the end of next week, the temperatures will be mostly below average. And that's kind of repeated with the forecast for Aberdeen as well. Again, warm to start with, temperatures dropping off, trying to peak back up through the weekend. But the theme for next week, again, particularly towards the end, is that the most likely scenario is that the temperatures will be below average. And again, although not as extreme, we get quite big variations in the nighttime temperatures as well, those blue blobs. So you can see how the temperatures are likely to vary quite a bit, especially as we go through the next week or so. Now this chart is showing the most likely pressure themes as we go over the next week or so. Red represents anticyclonic conditions or high pressure. Now down this side here we've got the recent computer runs, the most recent one at the top here, and again along the top we've got the days looking forward into next week and the end of next week. There's a lot of red on this chart suggesting that high pressure will be the dominant feature, as we've seen already, but just showing you this really to show that slight change, a subtle change, and the computer models are suggesting that that fading of the red suggests the high pressure may not be holding on as we go towards the following weekend. So what does that mean? Well, generally later next week, the chances are, the probability suggests that temperatures will be below average, but with high pressure close by, it's still looking largely dry, but that hint from those computer models there that's suggesting that possibly the high pressure may start to fade away a bit. We may get some more changeable conditions later next week. That's a long way off. Of course, we'll keep you updated on the details day to day through the Met Office website or, of course, on our app.